Okay. I'll let you introduce yourself, sir.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Joey Jones, football player for Salford City, and yeah.
So, Joe, what's a typical day for you?
So my day on work day, football-wise, obviously not at the moment during lockdown, it's a bit different. But yeah, I will get up about 8 o'clock. I'll go into the training ground for around 9, breakfast there, go up to the gym, get on the bike, do a few stretches, do a few hip mobility stuff that I have to do for my hips because I'm getting a bit old now. And then I'll go out to training around 11:15. We'll start training. Train for around an hour and a half. Come back, have lunch at the training ground as well. And depending on what day it is, we might have another session in the afternoon. So if we do, we'll have a double session. So usually it's on a Tuesday. We don't have a Tuesday game. And then I'd go home, back to my flat, probably have a little rest for a bit, and then cook my dinner.
So you was at Loughborough, oh God, we're going back now, 10 years?
Yeah. So I was at Leicester City as a youth player, and yeah, was at Loughborough with you.
So I did the education at Loughborough, and so I mean the good thing is, I mean a lot of footballers get a bit of bad stick for this, but you came out with a D-star, which is, you know, some grades, like I say, from yourself.
Sure.
What's been the kind of the ups and downs of your career? What's led you to where you've been, do you think?
So obviously I was at Arsenal as a schoolboy, which was very good. I probably had the best education that you could get in terms of developing me as a player at that age. And I had a big decision to make when I was 16. Arsenal had originally released me, but then they ended up offering me a scholarship. But I'd been on trials at a few other academies, and Leicester offered me a good contract, with a professional contract at the end of it. So decided to go to Leicester. So that meant moving home at 16, which was good, I think, looking back, but at the time quite tough to leave my friends and family, but it was what I wanted to do. So at Leicester for 3 years, got released, went to Yeovil, spent a year at Yeovil, hadn't played any men's team football, and got released from Yeovil, and just went back home to play part-time football with Woking in non-league, which was probably the best thing I've ever done. We'll probably come on to that in a bit. Ended up going to Eastleigh for a year, had a great season there, and then signed for Salford back in the professional game. So yeah.
So quite a varied career at the minute from where you've been. I mean, the key thing is that you talked about, obviously, when you went to Woking, you went to be part-time. And when you was at part-time footballer, what did you do alongside that to help, obviously, with your career and for finances and etc. that goes with it?
Yeah, so going to Woking was a big decision to go part-time, but it almost made me go there to enjoy football again. I needed to play first-team football, which was a big reason why I went there. But I went there and I started working. I did a personal training course, which was really good for me. And I set up a boot camp business with one of my good friends. And we run boot camps in London, in parks in London. So that, alongside football, for me was probably the sort of one of the best decisions I've made. Looking back at the time, it was probably for me a bit disheartening, because I'd gone from just wanting to be a professional footballer all my life in that bubble, and then came out of it, and it was disheartening at the time. But looking back, it was probably the best thing I've done.
I think one of the key things that we try and tell our learners is it's important to have a kind of plan A, B, C, D, you know, as long as you kind of go along. And obviously, you know, for a footballer, your career is quite short in compared to an average career of, you know, like I say, of a civilian type person. So having the boot camp and the PT side of it, has that allowed you to kind of think about what's going to happen after your career and where you're going to be going then?
Yeah, massively. it did. Going part time and having to work and see the other side of life, if you like, it really did. Looking back now, stand me in good stead for life after football, and it made me realise that there is life after football, and unless you're playing in the Premier League, earning a lot of money, you are going to have to think about that at some stage. So it was really good for me to have that time in my life where it made me realise about other things apart from football.
So, what's the positives and what's the negatives of your day job of being a footballer?
I'll start on the positives. Obviously, it's what I've wanted to do since I was a boy. It's my boyhood dream. It doesn't really feel like I'm working, to be honest. Feels like I'm having a kick about with my mates, and I love winning. I love trying to improve myself, and all those things is part of football and part of what you have to do to be a footballer. So they're the positives, and I wouldn't choose any other job in the world, to be honest. I'd say the negative side of it is you have to give up big social life. You have to sacrifice that, which can be tough at certain ages in your life. You can be lonely. I've lived in 4 or 5 different places in England and had to live on my own, had to live with people I didn't know, had to live in hotels. So there's a lot of mentally you've got to be strong to deal with those different sacrifices that you have to make. And yeah, I'd say they're probably the most positives and negatives out of it. Obviously, you've got a lot of pressures on you being a footballer. You can be the best player in the world 1 minute and not wanted at a club the next. That's how cutthroat it is, and you have to learn to deal with that because that's the nature of the business you're in. So there's a lot of negatives as well as positives. So it's not just a positive job.
I think, like you say, I think a lot of sacrifices is what people don't see that happens. Obviously, to be a professional athlete, there's a lot of sacrifice, like you say, in the social side of it. Going out with your friends when your friends are. When I say your friends that weren't part of football, they're out and they're going out and they're drinking and, all the things that you're doing as a normal 18, 19-year-old, and you're kind of sat there, having to be really disciplined and etc. as well. And I think also an interesting part of it is that, we spoke earlier about it, but you not having that kind of security. Most of your contracts have been 1 year, 2 years, and you're moving away and then kind of coming back to it. So how does that impact on you when you obviously, like I say, you get to kind of that February, March time and you're not sure what's going to happen the next season?
Yeah, so that's another side of the negative side of it, I suppose, is I was on 1 year contract since I left Leicester really till now. I had 1 year at Yeovil, and then I had rolling 1 years at Woking because I wasn't sure whether I really wanted to keep playing and keep doing it. So I just kept signing 1 year contracts. But it's tough because you have to deal with the pressure of having to perform to stay in the job and to stay in work the next year. It's hard with the pressures like that. It helps with security. It helps if you have a longer contract. But it's just something that you have to deal with and be prepared for in football.
So what's been your best career decision, do you think, so far? Obviously looking from Arsenal to Leicester to Woking to EC, what's been your best career decision you think that helped you most?
It's a hard one. There's been a lot of looking back decisions that I think have been good for me. Some and a lot that have been bad, which you're going to experience, and you're going to make decisions that you think are bad and turn out to be good when you look back on them, and vice versa. You're going to make decisions that you think are good and aren't. So I'd say my best decision was going to Woking. I was fighting to obviously play professional football, and I wasn't really playing any games. I played a lot of youth team games and reserve team games, but I was at Yeovil, and they were struggling in a good league in the Championship. But I needed to play first team football, and to go to Woking part time. At the time, like I said, it seemed like a disheartening decision, but I think it was my best decision I made really at the time, looking back on it, because it allowed me to work on other things. It allowed me to stop chasing that dream and having that fear of failing for that dream. It took the fear away from me a bit, and so yeah, it was good to drop down to that level and just enjoy playing football again.
So what's next then? What's still left in the career to achieve? You know, you've got I'd imagine a good 10 years still left playing. What do you want to achieve in that 10 years?
I want to obviously play as long as I can at a good level, at this level or even higher. I think the team I'm in at the moment, Salford, are very ambitious, and we want to try and get promoted and move up the league. So that's got to be my ambition for that. Personally, I want to try and play as many league games as I can, see where it takes me, but also just enjoy other things in life as well as football. I still run my business, my boot camp stuff in London, so I want to keep that going and try and keep thinking about other things and stuff outside the box that I can work on and improve on.
And then obviously after lockdown, some good form. You still got an eye on the Euro 2021 with Northern Ireland?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't been in the Northern Ireland setup since I was at Yeovil, but now I'm back in League Two and back in the professional game. They've definitely been watching me this season, so I do want to try and I spoke to them, or my agent spoke to them a few months ago. So I do want to try and get back in that fold, and obviously my performances on the pitch will decide that. I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself to do it, but I'd love to be a part of that.
And last question. So, if I could take you back 10 years, take you to the classroom back in Loughborough College, what would you tell yourself? Mm-hmm. What would you tell a young 18-year-old?
Sorry, Danny, you froze.
Sorry, yeah.
Say that again. I didn't hear the last question.
If I took you back to the classroom, you was basically back in Loughborough College 10 years ago, what would you say to a young 18-year-old? What would you say to yourself?
Sure. So, 10 years. So, me sitting in that classroom 10 years, I'd probably say to myself to think about a plan B, to think about if football doesn't work out. Keep evolving and learning and developing yourself as a person and as a football player, but also from setbacks to not be too disheartened by them, because they're part of life and part of learning. And if you have one setback, it's how you deal with it rather than the setback itself. Like any great sportsman or any great successful person would tell you, that they've all had setbacks, but it's how they've moved on from them and dealt with them, and sort of analysed themselves and how can they make themselves better rather than blaming other people or blaming other influences. It's sort of about when you have a setback, right? Well, why did that happen? Or if it's not because of something you've done, you have to accept it and try and make yourself better. Yeah.
Perfect. Joey, appreciate it, mate. Thank you.